Something strange and sinister is going on in Austin. Multiple deaths in Austin, Texas, near popular nighttime hotspots on Rainey Street have caused people to believe that a murderer is on the loose. They have coined the Phantom Menace the Rainey Street Ripper. But does a serial killer really exist? Police say no. Others disagree. In this video, I will delve into a chilling set of deaths that have gripped the city of Austin, deaths linked to a potential serial killer. Drawing from my background as a former police officer, I'll break down the story, discuss the evidence, and analyze the theories surrounding this case. Over the last 2 years, multiple dead bodies have been found on a mile-long stretch of the Colorado River between the Lamar Boulevard Bridge and Lady Bird Lake out in Austin, Texas. It's about a half-hour's walk from the Rainey Street neighborhood, a trendy night spot with bars, restaurants, and food trucks. This is the place the Rainey Street Ripper got his name. The latest body was found on July 5th. Officers responded to Waller Beach at Town Lake Metropolitan Park, located near Rainey Street and Cumming Street, for a welfare check. The caller had found a white male with apparent life-threatening injuries to his body. The Austin Fire Department, Austin Travis County EMS, and the Austin Police Department arrived on scene, and unfortunately the victim was pronounced deceased. This man is still unidentified, and there were news reports that when his body was removed, quote, thick pools of blood between the path and the water's edge could be seen. What kind of injuries could have caused that much bleeding? The police have played down the idea that this death had any connection to the Rainey Street Ripper or any other kind of killer, while police initially reported the cause of death to be blunt force trauma. Days later, they changed that to a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police say the death is being considered an isolated incident, and there's no known threat to the general public. So what about the persistent claims that the Rainey Street Ripper stalks the area as a killer, largely targeting gay men who frequent the Rainey Street nightlife and lake area? That has been one of the allegations. Terrified residents have set up Facebook groups to voice their growing fears that the deaths may in fact be connected. There was a report that in April, a bartender on the entertainment strip claimed a patron told him he was the Rainey Street Ripper and that he was attacking men in the nearby waterway. The bartender recalled that the man suddenly started talking about killing and used a derogatory word for gay men. The bartender described the client as a white man in his 40s who was about 5'11" with a muscular build and brownish light hair. That same month, a man named Jeff Jones reported he was attacked by this Ripper but lived to tell the tale. He woke up in the hospital more than 2 weeks later after doctors had implanted metal rods to hold his back together. Jones and his friends spent the night at 2 restaurants on Rainey Street. At about 1 a.m., he somehow became separated from his group, but he doesn't remember anything from well before that. Jones said he wasn't drinking heavily that night as the trip was a weekend-long affair. His friends last heard from him about 1:30 a.m., after which he stopped replying to texts and his phone went dead. An anonymous call was placed about 4 a.m. after Jeff Jones was spotted lying motionless at the bottom of the West 6th Street Bridge. Jones said he was drugged and plummeted 25 feet off the bridge, narrowly avoiding being drowned. Doctors later found the date rape drug Rohypnol in his system. There's no reason why I would have had that in my system, Jones has stated. He said he was having drinks and very easily could have gotten drugged by someone. Jones landed within 5 feet of the water, and as he was drugged with Rohypnol, he likely would have drowned if he was submerged in the stream. He remembered nothing from being out with his friends to waking up from the second of 2 induced comas 2 weeks later. Jeff said he was lucky to hit the ground and lucky that he didn't drown. There are multiple men and women who are not as lucky, however. The bodies of 13 individuals have been found in the last 2 years near Rainey Street or Lady Bird Lake. In July 2022, 59-year-old Ricky Parks, and in December of 2022, 25-year-old Christopher Gutierrez were both found dead in the vicinity. The Austin Police Department found no foul play in either death. In December 2022, Jose Moreno's body was found. He was 45 and was the first victim whose death was actually ruled a homicide. Moreno was shot in his car while driving. The caller indicated that a truck had driven off the road and into the water. The caller also said that gunfire had been heard in the immediate area around the time of the crash. When Austin Travis County EMS medics and Austin Fire Department crews arrived on the scene, they found a vehicle in the water. Detectives said at the time that they believe the shooting happened during a disturbance from a group of people nearby. On February 23rd, APD provided an update on the case, announcing the arrest of 18-year-old Joel Santiago Gonzalez Peron APD said throughout the investigation, detectives learned that on the morning of Moreno's murder, Gonzalez Perron was involved in a disturbance with a group of individuals at Dugsam Hill Summit. During the incident, Gonzalez Perron fired several rounds at the group's vehicles as they left the parking lot. APD said though Moreno was not involved in the altercation, Gonzalez Perron believed Moreno's vehicle was involved in the disturbance. He targeted and fired a round at Moreno's vehicle, striking and killing him. Shortly after Moreno died, a third body was found in the month of December. According to information from APD obtained through an open records request, the deceased was identified as Kyle Thornton, 56, and the investigation is closed with no foul play suspected. In 2023, 5 bodies were pulled from Lady Bird Lake. Lady Bird Lake, formerly known as Town Lake, is a river-like reservoir on the Colorado River in Austin, Texas. The city of Austin created the reservoir in 1960 as a cooling pond for a new city power plant. The lake, which has a surface area of 416 acres, is now used primarily for recreation and flood control. It was named in honor of former First Lady of the United States, Lady Bird Johnson. 30-year-old Jason John was found in the lake in February 2023. His death was ruled an accidental drowning. Authorities claim John drowned in Lady Bird Lake after a night out with friends. According to reports, the 30-year-old man was witnessed by a transient bystander to be vomiting by the bank of Lady Bird Lake and then subsequently fall and submerge into the water in the early morning of February 5, 2023. Law enforcement searched the area, but he was not found until February 13, 2023. Police found him fully dressed with his wallet and phone in his pockets. John had no significant internal or external injuries, and there were no fractures or traumatic injuries found, according to the report. John's toxicology report showed alcohol was in his system, but no illegal drugs were detected. The death of 33-year-old Jonathan Honey 2 months later was also ruled to be accidental. The autopsy says Honey was drinking at a bar and then left his friends to find food. Honey was last seen at a taco truck around 2 a.m. Honey's toxicology report showed there was alcohol in his system. He also had drugs in his system consistent with over-the-counter or prescribed medications. The Austin Police Department said Honey was found dead on April 1st after he was reported missing on March 31st. Honey was in town for a bachelor trip, according to local officials. Both Honey and John were last seen separately on Rainey Street before their disappearances. Both were out walking in the early morning. Clifton Axtell was found in Lady Bird Lake around the same time as Jason and Jonathan after he went missing near a downtown bar. He was a married father of 2. His cause of death was ruled undetermined. The autopsy report said he may have fallen or entered the water or had a natural event near the water. Weeks later, a 30-year-old black man named Christopher Hayes Clark died. First responders arrived and rescued Clark from the water. Unfortunately, he was pronounced dead on the scene. APD said preliminary findings indicated no foul play or suspicious circumstances were involved. Maga Dogala's body was discovered in June 2023. Austin police posted a video briefing on Facebook while recovering the body and stated local officials did not have a public safety announcement referring to serial killer concerns, but to be mindful of water safety, and noted that water can be inherently dangerous by its nature. 3 additional people, including at least 1 woman, were found in or near the lake in 2023 and 2024. There was an unidentified woman, age unknown, who was found dead in February 2024. Her body was found a few blocks west of the Congress Bridge, which is west of Rainey Street. 2 of the deceased individuals were discovered near or in Lady Bird Lake in April 2024. Austin Travis County EMS discovered a body on April 9th while conducting a welfare check near the Lamar Boulevard Bridge. The deceased person was not in the lake itself, and the cause of death was suspected to involve cardiac arrest. On April 20th, officers found a body in the lake that has not been identified. The latest body was found despite more than a year's worth of safety improvement works at the mile-long stretch of the river from the Lamar Boulevard Bridge to Lady Bird Lake. Police investigations say they have consistently found that most of the deaths are accidental and that they share a combination of alcohol and easy access points to Lady Bird Lake. Austin Parks and Recreation have installed better lighting along with fences and warning signs near the lake. Austin Police Department Assistant Chief Jeff Greenwald said, "There are a lot of allegations that there's a serial killer, but there's no proof or evidence in any of their investigations to sustain that. And police say that while each incident occurred at the lake, the circumstances, exact locations, and demographics surrounding these cases vary. Some of the cases remain under investigation. Most of the cases have been reported as missing persons cases. When a body is found in these instances, the missing person case closes without further investigation. What about cameras already in operation, especially the Rainey Street Bar District? Well, the area makes much of its money from out-of-towners, many of whom come here for destination weddings, bachelor or bachelorette parties. Business owners do not want others to publicize the recent deaths and scare away the visitors. Family members of one of the deceased has suggested that business owners have been uncooperative in giving up CCTV tapes. Some could look at these deaths and say, these could all be accidents. Some skeptical residents argue that Rainey Street is a nightlife area notorious for people over-drinking right next to a body of water, and thus, these could all be people getting drunk. Certainly some of the deaths appear to be legitimate accidents or straightforward in nature. But there are also other theories. First, most of the deaths are of upper middle class males. Some have been straight, some have been gay. All seem to be educated and had money to spend at local bars and eateries. One theory is that these men are being drugged, robbed, and are either thrown in the lake or accidentally fall in while in a blacked out state. Some of the deceased were reported to have drugs and alcohol in their systems. A commentator on a popular true crime broadcast even claimed that there are hundreds of reviews for a gay bar on Rainey Street that warn potential patrons not to go there or they may get drugged. Jeff Jones, who survived falling 25 feet after being roofied, urged people to keep a close eye on their drinks, given recent cases of people being drugged, as well as bodies found in Lady Bird Lake, which have left patrons looking over their shoulders. There have been calls to train bar staff to help prevent over-serving and spiked drinks. There is also community support for increasing access to drink spiking test kits. In April this year, the city launched Sip Safely, a pilot program designed to raise awareness around drink spiking and prevention in Austin's entertainment districts. The city dedicated $100,000 for the program, including money to purchase and distribute drink spiking testing strips to bars. More than 50 businesses, a majority of them in downtown Austin, are participating in the program, but city officials said they expected more to join. Why would Austin police take the position that the public is safe then? Well, it may be they don't want to frighten the public until they have more details. Information like autopsy and toxicology reports can take a while to complete. Autopsy reports from the Travis County Medical Examiner's Office can take up to 120 days to be released. In either case, Austin Police isn't a small department and should have plenty of resources to solve these cases. Some believe Lady Bird Lake may be haunted. Within a year of the creation, when it was still called Town Lake, a massive pesticide spill linked to a former East Austin chemical company killed thousands of fish in Austin and 200 miles downstream. It was an environmental disaster that was reported in the pages of Rachel Carson's groundbreaking 1962 book on the dangers of DDT, The Silent Spring. Then in 1964, a tragedy shocked the city when two young girls celebrating Mother's Day with their family drowned while swimming in the lake. Their deaths led to a ban on swimming in Lady Bird Lake due to the hazards in the water. Remnants of old, washed-away dams, deep pits from old gravel mining operations, and other types of debris litter the bottom of the reservoir, creating a dangerous underwater landscape. On a number of occasions, people have been pulled under by the strong currents. Before the wide ban, hikers looking to cool off after a long trail frequently reported that they felt something grab their legs and try to pull them deeper into the water while swimming. Like Lake Lanier in Georgia, some residents of Austin believe the lake is haunted by the spirits that have been lost to the lake. Spirits that have claimed the lives of the unfortunate individuals taken by the lake. Also, like Lake Lanier, Lady Bird Lake is man-made and so has debris and obstacles that could account for the higher number of deaths seen at the lake in comparison to other destinations that are just as popular. What about the theory that a serial killer dubbed the Rainey Street Ripper exists? Human nature has always looked at things and tried to find patterns that may or may not exist. Social media and the ability to just post rumors online has also contributed to the serial killer theory. The former forensic director with the Austin Police Department, Mark Gillespie, stressed that the public should believe the police when they say that there is no foul play. On the other side, a former NYPD detective Kevin Gannon said in an interview that the number of deaths is not consistent with accidental drownings. Examining a dead body that has been submerged in water for a length of time creates a number of challenges. These types of autopsy can be described as having lots of moving parts once water variables occur, and the need for specialty examinations to determine the cause of death. A popular theory on a Facebook group about the deaths is that the killer is a bartender who has been slipping date rape drugs into patrons' drinks. A spreadsheet created by a group member links the 2008 death of a man named Riyad Hamad to the same killer. Hamad, a public school teacher, was found dead on the south side of the lake, his hands and feet bound. His death was ruled a suicide. The serial killer concerns were previously echoed by a bartender who works in the center of Rainey Street. That bartender cited 3 reasons she and her colleagues believe the supposed Rainey Street killer exists. The amount of people who have been found dead is huge. We now have police patrols on the street pretty regularly, she added. Finally, she said the fact that bodies are being found in Lady Bird Lake is suspect due to its distance from Rainey Street. She found it hard to see how people could leave Rainey and end up at the lake. Still, findings at Lady Bird Lake lack a common denominator that points to a possible serial killer. Some of the deceased were drowned. At least 2 were shot. There is usually a common denominator with serial killers like age group, race, or appearance. Currently, there is no verified serial killer in Austin, Texas. Although there have been a series of deaths and bodies found in Lady Bird Lake, the Austin Police Department has repeatedly stated that there is no evidence connecting these deaths to a single perpetrator. One common theme of the drownings on Rainey Street that is factual, however, is the combination of alcohol and easy access to Lady Bird Lake, which has numerous access points. According to APD, many of the access points can be challenging to see at night. The parks in which most of these drownings have occurred are park areas that close at 10 p.m. and occur after the park closes. The Austin City Council has continuously pledged to improve safety along a poorly lit stretch of the trail along the lake. Nearly $1 million was dedicated to the efforts, using 2018 bond money that was earmarked for trail improvements. Temporary lighting and a camera were installed in March 2023 and left in place while the city studied and evaluated a long-term solution with consultants and stakeholders. The city had already installed signage and fencing along some parts of the trail. It also stepped up police and park ranger patrols near the area. In November 2023, a permanent camera was installed at the corner of Rainey and Cummings Streets. Earlier this year, crews added more than 20 permanent light fixtures, one of the key requests from community members. Security lighting was scheduled to be completely installed by the end of June. In summer 2023, Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services began piloting a program near Rainey Street, where 2 medics are stationed at the south end of the area to respond to any needs at the bars. The series of deaths near Rainey Street and Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas, has sparked widespread speculation about the existence of a serial killer dubbed the Rainey Street Ripper. However, after examining the evidence and considering various theories, it becomes evident that attributing these tragic incidents to a single perpetrator is unsubstantiated. While the deaths are undeniably concerning, the Austin Police Department has consistently maintained that there is no evidence of foul play connecting these cases. Each incident appears to have unique circumstances and causes, ranging from accidental drownings to isolated homicides. Despite community fears and social media speculation, no clear pattern has emerged linking the victims by age, race, or other identifying factors typically associated with serial killings. Moreover, investigations into these deaths have revealed diverse causes, including accidental drownings due to alcohol consumption and other individual circumstances. While some continue to advocate for a serial killer theory based on anecdotal accounts and circumstantial evidence, the official stance remains that these tragic deaths do not suggest the presence of a coordinated predator targeting the area. Still, skepticism persists in the community, fueled by the history of police departments nationwide occasionally fabricating evidence or downplaying potential threats to maintain public calm. This backdrop of skepticism leaves some residents questioning whether the Austin Police Department's assurances of safety are as reliable as they claim, especially given the unresolved nature of many of these cases and the community's ongoing unease. This concludes today's story. For more real-life true stories, subscribe to the channel. Until next time.